You ever wake up to the sound of metal on metal, heart still groggy, brain trying to figure out if it's just a bad dream, only to realize it's your life being torn apart at 6:47 a.m.? That was me, standing there barefoot on my own driveway, watching a tow truck's chains bite into my $80,000 fishing boat. Yeah, my boat, the one my father left me, the one I spent 2 years rebuilding after my wife died, while Constance Wexford, in a pastel pantsuit, filmed the whole thing on her phone like she'd just won the neighborhood lottery. I hadn't even finished my first cup of coffee before the mug slipped from my hands and shattered. That sound, it was like something in me broke right along with it. From that moment on, this wasn't just an HOA argument. This was war. Now, let me back up before you think I'm just some angry guy who likes yelling about rules. My name's Marcus. I'm 52, a retired Coast Guard engineer, spent 26 years keeping ships afloat in storms you'd never want to see. After my wife, Lydia, passed from cancer, I moved to Pinewood Shores, North Carolina. I wanted quiet, peace, somewhere I could hear the cicadas and watch the stars instead of city lights. Bought a modest ranch house, paid cash. My daughter, Sienna, she's a vet, lives 2 states over, told me I was nuts for moving to a place with an HOA. I thought she was being dramatic. The HOA here just wanted your grass mowed and your Christmas lights down by February. Nothing crazy. That's what I thought. Pinewood Shores is a wraparound community around Lake Talmadge. About 340 homes, retirees, families, a couple of fancy rentals. The lake itself? Owned on paper by some faceless corporation nobody really thought about. There's a public boat ramp, and for the fancy folks, the Talmadge Yacht Club, $200 a year to belong, gets you a private dock, a members-only beach, and that little feeling you're somehow better than the rest. I never joined. I'm a fisherman, not a cocktail party guy. I like the public ramp just fine. And that's where Constance and I clashed. Constance Wexford is the kind of woman who monograms everything and introduces herself like she's running for state senate. Got herself elected HOA president on a platform of restoring community standards, which, if you ask me, is code for making everyone as miserable as I am. Her husband's an attorney, which is a whole extra headache. She's the type to measure your mailbox with a tape, count the hours your trash cans are out, and stock your porch lights to make sure they're the right wattage. She did all this with a sugar-sweet voice, always pretending it was for your own good. My dad's boat, though, that's where she drew her line in the sand. That boat, 24 feet of 1987 Champion base beauty, was the last thing Dad left me. When Lydia died, I couldn't afford a breakdown, so I rebuilt that boat, piece by piece, every night until I could breathe again. There was nothing in the HOA rules about boats. Absolutely nothing. But Constance didn't like it, didn't like that I wasn't part of the yacht club, didn't like my old truck, didn't like that I didn't need her approval. So, 3 days before she had my boat towed, she called an emergency board meeting. No notice, just her little club of 4. Pushed through a rule, no watercraft over 20 feet in driveways, unless you were a yacht club member, of course. Next thing I know, I'm paying $850 to get my boat out of impound. Maxed out my card, hands shaking, not from fear, from rage. That afternoon, I made 2 phone calls. First, to an old Navy buddy turned real estate attorney. Second, to the county clerk's office. If she wanted a property fight, fine. Let's see who actually understands the rules. A week later, I parked the boat on my lawn. Technically, the rule only said driveways. That made Constance lose her mind. 12 citations in 14 days. Fines for everything. The boat, my trash can out 4 hours too long, my mailbox post showing oxidation, my garden hose not coiled correctly. And she wasn't acting alone. She'd recruited neighbors to stalk me, photograph my house. It became psychological warfare. She parked her Lexus right across from my drive, sat there scrolling, taking notes. Then came the certified letter, $3,400 in fines, lien on my home, pay in 30 days, or they could foreclose. Over garden hose. I sat on my porch that night, holding that letter, and heard my dad's voice When someone uses rules as a weapon, don't fight the rules. Make them prove the rules exist. So, I called Denise, former JAG officer, sharp as a tack, who owed me a favor. Denise found the HOA's incorporation docs, $12 for certified copies. She cross-referenced them with Constance's so-called minutes of the emergency meeting. No minutes, no county filing, nothing notarized, nothing legal. Turns out, under North Carolina law, if a rule isn't properly recorded and notarized within 72 hours, it's just an opinion, not law. Plus, they didn't have enough board members for a quorum. Every fine, every threat, built on air. We drafted a cease and desist letter, removed the liens, reimburse my towing, stop the harassment, or we sue. Denise also threatened to report Constance's husband to the state bar, conflict of interest, and all that. Monday, Constance called an emergency HOA meeting. I sat in the back and recorded it. Thank you, North Carolina one-party consent laws. The meeting was chaos. Constance fumbled, blamed clerical errors. Afterwards, in the lot, she cornered me, voice low, almost hissing. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I smiled. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. The liens were dropped. No apology, but my boat stayed right where it was. But Constance wasn't done. A couple weeks later, I went out fishing, my routine. Midway across the lake, my engine died. Water in the gas tank. Took 2 hours to paddle back in July heat. Harbor Patrol told me I was the third boat that month. Every owner someone who'd crossed Constance. No proof, but I knew. Then came social warfare. The annual July 4th potluck, 20 years running, suddenly members only, yacht club members. I showed up with my dad's brisket recipe and was turned away at the door. Constance, inside, lifted her glass in a mocking toast. I was furious, standing there like an idiot with a tray of meat. That's when Vera found me. Old, sharp, one of the original residents. She pressed an old newspaper clipping in my hand. Turns out, the lake wasn't owned by the yacht club or the HOA. It was owned by a dormant corporation, Talmadge Recreation Corporation, 8 years delinquent on taxes. I tracked down the original developer, Desmond Pute, now in nursing home. You want the lake? He asked. You pay off the taxes, you can have the whole corporation for $1. Keep the snobs out. It was crazy, but I did it. Sold Lydia's jewelry, borrowed from my daughter, scraped together the money. 3 weeks later, I owned the lake. Didn't tell a soul except Denise. Waited for the yacht club's next payment. Sent them new lease terms, $5,000 a month, retroactive. They refused, so I locked them out, changed the locks, hired off-duty sheriffs to patrol. The fallout was instant. Angry voicemails, threats, lawsuits. Constance and her husband tried to negotiate. Too late. Public support was mixed. Local papers painted me as a villain. But then Kit, a reporter, ran a fair piece, and the tide started turning. I opened the marina to the rest of the community, affordable rates, real access. 20 new families signed up. Then, Denise found the smoking gun. 6 dock slips subleased by the yacht club to outsiders, which violated their own lease. They'd breached contract before I ever raised rates. And then, while combing through the yacht club's books for the lawsuit, Denise found something worse. Hundreds of thousands transferred to Wexford Properties, LLC. Consulting fees. No actual consulting. That's embezzlement, felony theft. I called a meeting. Constance, her husband, their lawyer, showed them the evidence. Reginald begged for mercy, offered to sell the house, pay the money back, asked that I let Constance resign quietly. I agreed, but she had to apologize to me, Vera, everyone. She did, quietly at dawn before Community Lake Day. She was broken. I didn't twist the knife, just told her I accepted the apology. That was enough. Community Lake Day was everything I hoped. Kids fishing, neighbors eating together, bluegrass band playing. The news showed up. The yacht club lawsuit got dropped. Their membership opened, their books audited. Constance paid restitution, quietly disappeared. Her husband resigned. The whole system changed. Meeting minutes posted online. No more secret rule changes, anti-harassment policies, community project funding. 6 months later, the lake was thriving, open, diverse, used by everyone, not just the wealthy. Scholarship funds for local kids. Conservation easement protecting the lake forever. And me? I just fish in peace again, my father's boat safe in my driveway, the sun rising over water that belongs to everyone. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building something so good, no one can take it from you. So, if you're dealing with your own HOA nightmare, document everything, find your leverage, and don't give up. Ever had a neighbor try to ruin your life with a rulebook? Drop your story below. Let's hear how you fought back. And if you want more stories of justice served, well, you know what to do.